Do you like shooting videos from your smartphone? Well, then having great audio is an absolute must. The Rode SmartLav Plus microphone is a great addition to your on-the-go shooting kit. Check the affiliate link in the video description for more information. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and you know, I like crowdfunding, and right now, crowdfunding is pretty much all the rage, especially if you're on YouTube. A lot of what we do on here now is crowdfunding because it helps us stay afloat. A lot of people support this channel financially, and you guys are literally lifesavers right now, so thank you so much for doing that. But when a new site pops up, I like to take a look at it to see whether or not it's something that actually benefits you, or if it's something that, well, might actually just be a way to take your money and not really give anything back. That was a big thing with Fig last year, or the year before last, when that was coming out. And you had, you know, like, oh, you could buy into game development, you could fund these games and make a profit. The fine print says only if you put in so much money and it sells so many units. And that kind of crowdfunding aspect of things felt very kind of scummy to a lot of people. And then you have Kickstarter type stuff as well, which still to this day does well, but a lot of people question the type of Kickstarters and other crowdfunding platforms that they see. And so there's this new one. It's called Counter.Fund. And Counter.Fund is an ideological crowdfunding platform and self-governing political party. Nothing says squeaky clean like having an ideological crowdfunding platform that's also doubling as a self-governing political party. Now, if you're kind of asking yourself, what political party is this going to be using? Well, let's just take a look. It says here, what is Counter.Fund? Counter.Fund is a crowdfunding platform built by and for the wider alt-right counterculture. Because remember, kids, conservatism is the new punk rock. 10% of all funding collected will be allocated to a party fund in a parliamentary House of Lords, or House of Shitlords, because that's the most professional goddamn thing you do. Look, we say shitlords to have fun with it. But if you're putting it in a context of like actually trying to use it as a buzzword to popularize your crowdfunding campaign, please don't stop. Just stop. No one's asking for that. You need to stop. Let's see. So the House of Lords, comprised of the top fundraisers, will convene regularly to spend that money on political action for the benefit of the movement. Counter.Fund is an experiment in catalyzing collective action across the wider alt-right. So effectively, it's a pay-to-play model. If you want to be part of the House of Lords, in order to determine where this funding goes, you need to put up the larger sum to get yourself a board seat. And I can only see this having disastrous effects, especially when the ideological narrative starts kicking in. People that are kind of like moderate alt-right and hardcore extreme alt-right that are on this board, it's all going to boil down to who puts in more money. And the little guy that they're trying to get, which would be basically someone like you at home, is going to end up having no say in any of this due to the fact that you don't have a big enough share of the pie from your donations. So if you don't have the green, you may not want to be part of this one. So it says here that Counter.Fund is ideological in its explicit dedication against Marxist political correctness and the globalist progressive left. I.e., we want to be the new George Soros, but not actually be George Soros, well, except for maybe being George Soros of the right. Counter.Fund is built on a crowdfunding platform that allows recurring and one-time payments to be to registered influencers via credit card, Bitcoin, and PayPal. So effectively, you can go and you can fund. This is like, okay, so this is basically also saying it's like Patreon for the alt-right, but with 10% of the funds going to this House of Shitlords sort of thing. Oh, Jesus. I can already see this going bad. Counter.Fund is self-governed because it is controlled by a House of Lords of the top influencers who raise money on the site. And so the people who raise the most money for the website, those who are in that top 10%, if you will, or top few percent, the top 1% of the House of Lords, are going to be the top influencers that are going to have a say where that money is spent. Again, bring in Mike Cernovich, Paul Joseph Watson, Richard Spencer, Roosh V, maybe, not Matt Forney. No one gives a shit about Matt Forney. Same with Davis Arini. Those kind of guys are going to try to be vying for power. And if you want to see an ideological clusterfuck happen, just watch what happens with Counter.Fund. See, Counter.Fund is a political party because the House of Lords spends 10% of all money raised on whatever it decides are the collective goals of the party. Again, whatever the strongest voice there wants to do. It's going to be like more of a domination factor. Everyone's going to be called a beta or a cuck if they don't agree with what the alpha male wants. It's actually, I'd like to be a fly on the wall for these House of Lords meetings, because you know they're going to devolve into that kind of tomfoolery and dumb cuckery. All right, so their mission here, Counter.Fund's mission is to create strong incentives and fertile conditions for collectivized political action amongst the atomized counterculture right. The movement's distributed nature is an advantage, but a vehicle for limited collective action will magnify its ability to project power. So basically it's like, hey, we're all going to be coming here using this as a way to raise money for ourselves and our own devices or our own whatever the fuck, and then we're going to be able to fuel some of that money, 10% of that money, into a political action party sort of thing. Yeah, someone's going to use this to get really fucking rich, guarantee. A political party is an organization that collects dues from members to pursue collective political ends. Counter.Fund is an attempt to create the first natively internet political party that is built on crowdfunding and governed by those with the highest algorithmically measured political influence amongst its members. So whoever is the top fucking dog, or the top dogs, are the ones who will lead the party. It's like the exact opposite of like a democratically elected situation, right? Now one might argue, but the democratically elected process doesn't work. I don't know, your guy's in fucking office right now, so it clearly does. But this again is putting the power on the highest influencer. So the highest influencer is going to be able to make the most, going to have the most sway, going to be able to bring in the most money, and I guarantee you there will be infighting, because what you're going to have is you're going to have influencers that are backed by multiple people, and then there's a power balance or power struggle in between any of this. You're going to see a whole bunch of them going like, yeah, well that motherfucker's a cuck. You need to pull out your funding and give it to me. The House of Lords is going to turn into a house of burned shit very, very quickly. But let's look at the governance structure here. Counter.Fund's Parliamentary House of Lords will be comprised of the top influencers measured by money raised per month. The Lords will elect the 5-member Counter.Fund High Council to 1-year terms who advise the chairman on all matters and have the power to hire and fire him. The chairman manages the operations on the platform and the administration of the party apparatus. So, okay, fine. So the House of Lords is going to be the top influencers. Then they will elect the top of the influencers, and the top of the influencers will elect the top influencer. So again, it's going to boil down to whoever brings in the most money. It's going to be a very odd looking pyramid. Whoever brings in the most money to the party is the one that's going to have the most pull. Don't believe me? It's going to basically turn into the whole fucking notion of, like I said, it's pay to play. Because whoever brings in the most money could then threaten to pull the plug on their profile, could threaten to pull the plug and walk away. And since the political action party here is going to need that potential cash in order to fuel its desires, its end goals, they're not going to want to fuck with the top player. So whoever the top person coming in consistently is going to have the most pull, which is going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of Game of Thrones shit going on here. I can already see this crashing and burning just because of the egos involved of the people that are going to be on the House of Lords and the High Council and the chairman. You already know what's going to happen. I don't even need to like spell this out any further. Most of you out there can already look at this and go, "Oh yeah, this is a horrible idea." So let's take a look at the breakdown. It does say here that 10% Counter.Fund operations, 10% party funds, and then the other will be the crowd-funded recipients. So you donate $1 to somebody, they'll get 80%. Which I guess it really isn't that bad, but they still have to pay taxes on that, something to consider, just in general. The operations 10% covers payment processing and other operational costs of the site, and is controlled and spent by the chairman as advised by the High Council. The party funds, 10%, are controlled and spent at the sole discretion of the House of Lords. So 10% can be spent however they want from the chairman after the costs are taken into account. And then the counter fund there, the party funds, the House of Lords will determine who spends it on what. And I'm pretty sure the chairman will probably have a little bit of a say in that as well in order to build up their initiative. If they want to allocate more funds to whatever it is they're trying to do through the Counter.Fund operations, 10%, that you can kind of see where this is going to go. The remaining 80% is paid out directly to the influencer who received it and on a monthly basis. So cool. How much of this is going to be done through Bitcoin, though? That's my question. See, look, I said there was a pyramid. There's always a pyramid. Wherever there's a pyramid, you know something is going to be not the most ethical. So, all right, let's see here. High Council, Parliament, influencers, party members. The party members donate to those who provide them with value, just like Patreon. Influencers can influence proportional to those donations. Influencers are elected to the House of Lords based upon their influence. So again, if you don't have that high enough number, that high enough value, meaning your only importance to the party is how much money you bring in, not any of your other contributions. Are you good at Twitter? Are you good at social media? Are you good at viral marketing? Are you good at grassroots organizing? Are you good at on the ground operations? Or whatever? None of that matters, provided you bring in enough money, because that's what it boils down here, folks. It's all money. And see, the High Council picks a chairman and derives its mandate from the House of Lords. Now, the question is the chairman going to be allowed for re-election? I didn't say that yet, so I'm curious if the chairman will be allowed to run multiple times. And again, the chairman will probably be the person who brings in the most money, the largest paid influencer. So that person, if they lose, even in a democratically elected process, they could still threaten to walk away if they quit or if they lose, therefore almost forcing the hand of the influencers to keep voting for them. If not, there could be a big pullout to the people who are running the show behind the scenes, you know. So closed platform. All right. So raising money on via Counter.Fund will be strictly by application or invitation. It will not be any sense of an open platform. So basically you have to apply to play. Those who apply become influencers will be vetted based on for baseline ideological compatibility, but otherwise selected with a ruthless emphasis on quality. Sure. Or I should say, I'm sorry. I need to use a hand signal you guys are used to. Okay. Curation and selection. For the first year, influencers will require the chairman's approval. After the first council elections 1 year after launch, the House of Lords may choose to form a committee or other processes to approve new influencers. That's fine. And then here it is. You can register with the party now. And then this is great. So supporting influencers, right? So here's who they've got on board so far. Here's who they've got on board. Richard Spencer, the co-editor of altright.com and Mr. Pepe Pin himself. The digital platform denial is the free speech question of the 21st century. Counter.Fund might become the most important counter assault against the SJW insanity of the past decade. Sure. Okay. Probably not, but you can, you can dream all you want, Richard. Now, Sam Hyde. Yeah, that's Sam Hyde. I personally checked the legal organizational structure of this new venture as well as the computing code backing it. And I can say with complete certainty that this crowdfunding platform makes all others obsolete. 20% is probably a little on the high side, but these Counter.Fund promotional body pillows are 100% model and triple stitch, so they won't start coming apart at the seams when you love them, plus you're broke anyway. Now, this particular quote makes me wonder how much of this is legit, right? Like, I know Sam Hyde clearly is in his own, that's his way of maybe being funny. But then you got Roosh down here too, who is a neo-masculinity writer. Okay, I won't even go into that one. Counter.Fund is exactly what I need after being shut down by PayPal for political reasons. I need a way to allow my readers to support my work without being banned for my opinions, because there's no way I can trust Patreon or other Silicon Valley companies. And that does sound a lot like what Roosh V would in fact say, and that's pretty much just goes down for here. Yeah, you can donate via credit cards, or PayPal, and you can donate via Bitcoin. There we go. Okay. Here's some frequently asked questions. Won't entryists join the collective and try to take over? They already kind of answered that by their application process, because they have to vet you into the party first. That's the other side of that too. If you're not ideologically on their side enough, then they won't let you in. Like, see, this is something I in essence, I get the idea behind it in terms of like funding your favorite creators. I'm sorry, influencers. But they wouldn't let me on because clearly I'm a Bernie bro, who doesn't want Hillary or Trump. And so I'm not enough on their side. Plus, I probably mock them relentlessly anyway. So it says Counter.Fund is not an open platform. The chairman personally chooses all influencers for at least the first year, and the Counter.Fund governance structure is being designed to resist takeover by a minority of influencers, even if they can monopolize influence. Bullshit. Watch that fucking happen. Watch somebody with money come on in and become the chairman and take the fuck over. You cannot, your model, your pyramid model, your model based on how much money you bring to the table, all it would require is for somebody who is like of alt-right mentality to be funded by George Soros behind the scenes, to come on in, become an influencer, work their way up to the top, take over, and then start systematically destroying it from the inside, or filling it with their compadres as well. And how about this? Just how about this for a situation? What if at the same time you get a group of influencers that come through the vetting process, and again, it's all part of the scam. So people donate money to them. They then take that 80%. Yeah, it's a little bit of an odd return, but then they funnel that into somebody else to boost their numbers up, and so on and so forth, so on and so forth. You know, you could easily run a scam like that in order to then position all of your friends, your allies, either alt-right or not alt-right, in the same, you know, bracket of high caliber influencer, and then use that as a way to elect to the High Council and then ultimately the chairman to take over. Because the chairman serves at the pleasure of the High Council, kind of, and if you are able to infect the High Council and also take over the chairman, then you run the entire platform. You run the entire party, and you could easily destroy it from within. It wouldn't take long for somebody on the left, someone like George Soros, to come in and take care of this. It wouldn't take long for them to do that at all. So anyway, so entries would have to resign themselves to contributing 10% of the revenue to collective working against their interests while attempting to gain power. Let them try. Expulsion from the platform will be designed to be very difficult to thwart purges. Yeah. If you can see it coming, sure. If you can see it coming. All right. But if someone is smart and knew how to play your system is not hard to manipulate. Not hard at all. With enough backing from private investors, I could manipulate your system and take over entirely, because it's a pyramid scheme in essence. So it's so easy to take over. Now it goes on to say, this is suspiciously democratic. Isn't a dictatorship better? A dictatorship is only as good as its dictator, i.e. the chairman. Any organization designed to last beyond rule of one man needs a governance system to ensure continuation of its mission. Counter.Fund is not a democracy because power is allocated by dollars rather than headcount. The Counter.Fund House of Lords will be an ever-shifting aristocracy of the most influential people in the movement at any given time, as measured by real-world dollars of party members. Again, easily manipulated. Easily manipulated if you know what you're doing. Oh my God. Is 10% really necessary for operations? Patreon charges less. We are smaller, pawned by choice, and not being an open platform, so we don't reap the same economics of scale that Patreon does. Our unique ideological mission and member-controlled platform are more than enough benefit to justify the slightly higher costs. I don't know if I would go as far as to say that. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that. You guys are trying. That I give you credit for. Sure, I give you credit for trying, but at the same time, this is a scenario that will only, I think, solidify the ending of the alt-right in terms of any kind of political prowess. I get what you're doing. I understand it. It's not hard. You're very simple. What we don't understand is greed and power mixed with economics that can be freaking influenced by effectively anonymous donators, because you have to apply to become an influencer. But I'm sure you're going to open up the door for people who want to fund their influencers. Just open a general account. People are going to use dummy accounts because they don't want it tied back to them in case you guys are ever hacked. Right, so there's going to be a lot of that going on. A lot of the anonymous donations. A lot of people who don't want their name associated with their donations to their targeted influencer. And that might sit there and be able to be used as a way against them. And that's one of the reasons why this particular Counter.Fund thing is hysterical to me. Now, if they were just opening up as an alt-right platform to fund your favorite content creators or your favorite influencers, I wouldn't have as much of an issue with this. You know, oh, yeah, no, by all means, we take 10% for operational costs. We might cross-promote you, so on and so forth. Cool. But because this is a political platform, because they're trying to finance a political revolution, they've opened themselves up for massive fucking takeover. They've opened themselves up for an easy coup. by people who have enough money to fund that shit. If you think George Soros won't chime in on this from fucking behind the scenes or someone equivalent, I think you're stupid. So I applaud the effort, golf clap, but at the same time, I'm very much looking forward to when this whole thing crashes and burns, very much like the alt-right itself. Because Jesus Christ, oh my God, you guys, you open yourself up to be fucked in the ass, and you think you've worked your way around it. No, you haven't, you stupid shits. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this will actually work? Or do you think that this can be easily manipulated and everything else? Let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video. Subscribe to the channel. Check back daily for more content from me. If you want to support this channel, you can do so an easier way. Amazon affiliate, very easy way. You can do directly through PayPal. They don't take 10% or 20% like Counter.Fund does. Or Patreon. Again, doesn't take 20%. But then again, I'm not part of any kind of a political party. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.